Welcome to the Context Machine, episode 727. I'm Bryan Jeff.
And I'm Jeff Gamet, and I'm not making the airplane joke. Hey, but we do have a website, contextmachine.io. Head over there at your convenience and check out what we have going on.
Yep, you can also use contextmachine.io to reach out to us, or you can find us on Threads at Context Machine Podcast or on Blue Sky at contextmachine.bsky.social.
Yes, and our sponsor this week is Framer.
Oh,
thank you, Framer.
Yeah, thanks. We're going to tell you more about them later in the show. And Jeff, we've got new Macs to talk about, man. I love new Macs.
You know, I do appreciate the fact that Apple scheduled their announcements for the day before we record instead of doing it the day after we record.
Yes, it's very, very considerate.
It is. I would have expected them to hold it just to spite us, but here we are. And I do want to point out that Apple did something that you have in the past called out, which is if Apple wants to increase Mac sales, the one thing they can do is release new models.
Yeah, that I first started saying that back when Apple was not releasing new models very often.
Yeah,
and they have thankfully since recorded that. They've
rectified.
Thank you. That's a much better word. And yeah, so what we had announced yesterday was new Mac Minis, new Mac Studios, and the new M6 processor and the M5 Ultra processor.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about all those things today, and I'm quite excited by these products, but I'm very not excited by the prices.
Yeah, and I think for once we can say Apple is not trying to price gouge us. It's just we have a market where every part costs a metro crap ton of money.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about the Mac Mini first.
Okay. So we get the new M6 Mac Mini, and we're back in that part of the cycle where chip numbers become confusing because this is not the most powerful chip.
No, that would be the M5 Ultra.
Yeah, the M5 Pro and M5 Ultra will outperform the M6. And but the M6 is the first chip from Apple that uses a 2-nanometer process.
That is so insane. We're going to talk more about the processors. Well, I don't know. Should we talk about the processor now?
We're kind of doing that, so sure.
Fair enough. Yeah. 2-nanometer. That is so insane. I remember when there was talk about not being able to ever beat the 3-nanometer. Processes, and here we have a 2-nanometer process, and that's bonkers.
Yeah. So I did a search yesterday, or an internet question, where I asked how big is 2 nanometers, and the comparison that came up that I just loved was that's the distance between 10 silicon atoms end to end.
10 atoms.
10 atoms. Yep.
Wow. And so to just to fill in the gaps for anyone who may not be familiar with what this means, this is a reference to how close the resistors can be in a
transistors.
Transistors, thank you. There. No one knows
the power of editing.
Yes. Anyway, how close the transistors can be on the dies that end up making the CPU cores. So the closer that they could be, the more that they can put in, meaning that everything runs a little bit cooler and a little
hotter.
Actually,
but you pack that much together, you have to have more efficient cooling.
Right. You can't pack more transistors in without reducing the space between the transistors.
Yeah, well, yeah, that is true. But less space also means less distance that that the electrons have to travel.
Well, right, and that can have a side effect of making it easier for electrons to jump back and forth when they shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being discussed when the 3 nanometer process was first being reached. So anyway, they've done it, and it's Apple's design. It's TSMC's processes, and it's a remarkable feat. And I would imagine that there are other computer makers and chip makers who are like, nope.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to nerd out on the tech for a second because that's kind of what we do. All right. So you know how Intel is doing test runs for Apple to be a partner. Mm-hmm. Intel's process for doing 2 nanometer, which frankly, I'm shocked they were able to actually make this happen because they have had an ongoing problem over the years of scaling down with manufacturing sizes. But what they're doing is a thing with the 2 nanometer process where you actually kind of end up like stacking pieces on top of each other. And it has the potential to increase efficiency even more. So we may end up in a situation at some point where your iPhone or whatever, you have to look at your serial number or whatever to figure out which manufacturer made your processor. And you remember back in the there were points with the iPhone, and I think with Macs also, where with the different manufacturers, you might have a different like modem chip or something, and it would impact performance in different ways. So anyhow, I think it's just really cool that the technology is advancing as much as it is.
It is very cool. And so I note that the M6 features a 12-core CPU, and that's 2 more cores than what they were putting in the Mac Mini before.
Mm-hmm.
And a 12-core GPU. It's also 2 more cores. And it also now includes neural accelerators in each core for the very first time on the Mac Mini. So that's remarkable.
And also very important because the Mac Mini has turned out to be an important part of AI growth.
Mm-hmm.
And Apple wants to make sure that their own AI can happen everywhere. So this makes that more efficient on the M6.
Yeah, Apple's saying that it's 4 times faster AI performance and 2x faster graphics than the Mac Mini with the M4. So that is all quite impressive.
Yeah, and 2 times faster for storage.
Yeah.
Which in the Mac Mini is important because the base model has always lagged on performance with read-write for storage.
Right. So that is that's the M6. You can also get the M5 Pro. Is that right?
Yes, and that one starts with. I've got the numbers here. 15-core CPU, so that's 3 more cores than you had before. But you can get up to 18 cores with 6 super cores and 12 performance cores, and you can get up to 20 core GPU. So one of the specs that Apple tossed out, knowing full well that people use the minis for AI stuff a lot, up to 4 times faster LLM prompt processing performance in LM Studio compared to an M4 Pro. Now, to me, that's super important because I know what LM Studio is. I actually use it some. And I know that it's a very important tool for a lot of people that are doing local AI work.
Right. So that's the new Mac Mini, and it's quite impressive. Unfortunately, it's starting at $899 for the Mac Mini with the M6, $799 for education, and the Mac Mini with M5 Pro starts at $1699 and $15.99 for education. So that's kind of the brutal reality of today's tech market.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk more about the prices later when we start talking about what we will do or what we would do.
Right. Yes. One thing we didn't hit that we should, because this impacts the new studio model as well. The new Mac Minis have Apple's N1 processor, so that's their Wi-Fi, their wireless connectivity.
Got it.
So yeah, so you get Wi-Fi 7, and the other place you see the N1 right now is the iPhone 17. I can't remember if it's in anything else off the top of my head, but there you go. So Apple's N1 chip is starting to show up in more devices. So that's kind of cool.
Right. It is cool. So then there's also a new Mac Studio, which perked my ears up. And that doesn't come with an M6. It comes with the M5 Max or the M5 Ultra.
Right. And it makes sense it does not come with an M6, because M6 is more of an entry-level processor, so not appropriate for the studio.
Right. And basically the M5 Ultra is currently like one of the fastest processors on the planet currently. So we've got a few numbers. The M5 Max does up to 10.7 times faster LLM prompt processing in LM Studio when compared to the Mac Studio with an M1 Max, and 3.9 times faster than the M4 Max. So that is a substantial improvement.
That's significant.
And it's up to 7.4 times faster with text-to-image performance when compared to Mac Studio with M1 Max, and up to 3.5 times faster than the M4 Max. Again, that's substantial. The up to 5.3 times faster Magic Mask performance in Blackmagic designed DaVinci Resolve Studio. This is for video stuff, and compared to Mac Studio with the M1 Max, and up to 3 times faster than the M4 Max. In other words, this thing is freaking fast. The M5 Ultra, these numbers are off the chart. 15.4 times faster copycat ML training performance in Foundry Nuke. I don't know what any of those products are. When compared to Mac Studio with M1 Ultra, and 3.3 times faster than the M3 Ultra, and up to almost 10 times faster in the LLM prompt processing with LM Studio compared to the M1 Ultra, and up to 4 times faster than the M3 Ultra, and up to 8 times faster text-to-speech performance. This thing is freaking fast.
Yeah, it's clear that that Apple does see this as their top-of-the-line computer. This has replaced the Mac Pro as Apple's beast machine, if you will. Although I appreciate that there are people who look at this and say, yeah, but I can't do the expansion stuff that I need in a true Pro machine. Therefore, this isn't a Pro machine. Okay, it's not a Pro machine for you. And yeah, the fact that you can't do the expansion that you need, I see where that's an issue. But yeah, this is now Apple's top-of-the-line Pro machine.
Right. I've been super happy with my M1 Ultra Mac Studio. And we're going to talk more about that in the second part of the show. But the Mac Studio is a fantastic machine, and the new ones look fantasticer, although the price tag is a little bit gulpy. The Mac Studio with an M5 Max starts at $24.99. $22.99 for education. The M5 Ultra starts at $54.99, $3,000 more.
That's yeah. And I will point out for the people that are like starting at $54.99, that's horrible. That's way too much money. Keep in mind, if you're looking at this computer and saying that, you're not Apple's target market for that computer, and that's okay.
It is substantially more expensive than the M1 Ultra was back in 2022 when I bought it. And that's 4 years ago. It is way higher now.
Yeah, but when that M1 came out, we didn't have the AI companies scarfing up every resource.
Yeah.
And we didn't have wars and tariffs like we do today. Yeah. There are significant things that jacked up that price.
Right. Which I'm not faulting Apple. I'm also not accusing Apple of gouging us. I'm just saying that these prices are a little bit eye-watering and a little bit intimidating. And that could be a personal reaction, just intimidating for me at the moment.
Well, I think for most of us, these are intimidating numbers.
Yeah, right. I would. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna talk about that a little bit more in the show, a little bit later in the show. So anyway, regardless, the Mac Mini, Mac Studio, they're super impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I love seeing the Mac get these kinds of updates.
Yep, me too. Yep.
All right. So let me tell you about Framer.
Yes, please.
Let's do that. So Framer is a complete website platform, not just a builder. So teams can launch and keep improving their sites in one place. Thousands of businesses from early stage startups to Fortune 500s are choosing to build their websites in Framer, where changes take place in minutes instead of days. Framer is an enterprise level solution powered by agents that provide premium hosting, enterprise grade security, and 99.99% uptime SLAs that gives the world's leading brands like Perplexity and Miro the confidence they need to build their websites in Framer. So learn how you can get more out of your site from a Framer specialist, or get started building for free today at framer.com/TCM for 30% off a Framer Pro annual plan. That's framer.com/TCM for 30% off. And one more time for the cheap seats, framer.com/TCM. Rules and restrictions may apply, and we appreciate Framer for sponsoring us. We would love for you to check them out.
Yes, please. Yep. Thank you, Framer.
All right. So one of the things that we talked about before we started recording is the things that this reveals about Apple's plans. I mean, so like for one thing, I don't know that this is specifically Tim Cook trying to go out with a bang, but this is Tim Cook going out with a bang, because this is probably the last product release of his tenure as CEO. Because I
think that's a safe bet.
In September.
Yeah, no, September 1st.
September 1st, yeah.
And then on the 9th, we have the just announced Apple Media event.
Right. So that's kind of exciting. And this also tells us, I mean, for Apple to release the M6 and the M5 Ultra, 2.5 weeks before 2 weeks actually, right?
I guess it's about 2 weeks.
Yeah, definitely 2 weeks. Anyway, for them to do that before a media event says that media event's going to be packed, and also that Apple doesn't want other things to take any spotlight away from the things that they're going to show. But this makes me excited about what's going to happen in that media event.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, there's the things that we expect. Like there'll be new iPhone announcements because that's what Apple does at their September media event. Yeah, but with getting the new Macs right now, um, yeah, I'm with you. There's going to be a lot that's packed into the event, and
I mean,
yeah, they had to get this stuff out of the way.
there's
So they
definitely a
had room
part
for
of
that.
me that wishes that these devices could have gotten their own Mac centric media event. You know, there's a part of me. You know, I will always be a Mac fan first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a product of when we came up in the Apple.
Sure.
Universe. But Apple isn't doing gratuitous media events.
No, they aren't.
Anymore. So, you know, that's fine. And again, this says that the media event will be packed, and it also gives us a little insight as to when Mac OS 27 and probably all the OS 27s are going to be released.
Yes, because these will all have OS 27 at launch.
Yeah.
And we know what day these become available, which is, what is it, September 22nd or something? I'm trying to pull a number out of the air. I can't remember. But
September 22nd, yes.
Okay. So that means that by September 22nd, OS 27 will have been already released.
Yeah,
or will release on that day.
Yeah, it'll either be that day or, you know, like a couple days before, like maybe the Friday before. Actually, when is September 27th?
Yeah, I'm about to look at a calendar, you know, like I should have done before the show.
No, that's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, so but it could be the Friday before.
Yeah, it's, you know, a year between releases makes it easy for me to forget. Has Apple released major OS on a Friday? Or
well, Apple usually ships new products on a Friday, right?
I don't know. I don't remember anymore. I thought it was like middle of the week.
No, they tend to do that on Friday. So anyway, regardless, it'll either be Friday the 18th or the 22nd. It'll certainly be no later than that because they've got products in the wild with that OS on it.
Yeah. All right. So if I were a betting person, I would now say it will be September 21st. So they'll release OS 27 the day before the new computers.
Yes.
Arrive.
Yes, except for the fact that that's not the case. Sure.
Apple has done Monday launches before.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So, and we'll see. The other thing we were going to talk about is, you know, what are we going to do with these new Macs? And we like to look at this. We like discussing this from the standpoint of we hope. We know that our talking about our approach can help other people who might be looking at buying something.
Yes.
So, and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
So, and in particular, you were looking at, you know, you recently rejiggered your whole plan for how you were going to upgrade your Mac experience based on your iPad Pro experience at the recent Black Hat conference. We talked about that extensively 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So the condensed version for everyone is my plan of when I replace my MacBook Pro, I'm going to get a Mac Mini and a Mac Neo. Became, it'll be a Mac Mini and the iPad Pro that I have now, or get in the future, whatever. And so now that we have these new minis announced, I'm having to look at all the numbers and figure out, does that plan still make sense? And the answer today is, I don't know. So I priced out what would be probably the Mac Mini that I would buy if I were going to buy one today, which, by the way, to me, should be the base model of the Mac Mini. So Well, except if you were getting the M6 chip instead of the M5 Pro. So for me, it would be M5 Pro. That bumps the price up to $1,699. I left the 15-core CPU, 16-core GPU that it comes stock with.
So the base M5 Pro.
Yeah, the base M5 Pro, the base storage, which RAM, 24 gig, and then bumped the storage up to 1 terabyte. And left the 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, which, by the way, is a new thing as a standard thing. So did not bump it up to the 10 gigabit Ethernet.
Yep.
That comes in at $1,999. So to me, what is a reasonable base model Mac Mini now costs $2,000.
Right. And in particular, having a desktop computer with only 256 gigs of storage doesn't make any sense to me.
I agree completely. 512 is barely scraping by.
Unless there are some server applications, some like, racks of Mac Mini applications that make sense for that 256. I think for people who are buying their Mac Mini as their desktop, their life partner in computing.
Yeah.
256 doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
1 terabyte should be the minimum.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Okay, so now let's compare that with if I were to replace my M2 MacBook Pro 14-inch with what the comparable MacBook Pro today would be. Okay, so 14-inch MacBook Pro, that starts at $1,999.
Wait, hold on. Is it what your old one would compare to today's models, or is this the model that you would buy today?
The answer to both of those is yes.
Okay, all right, that's important.
Yeah. Okay, so it starts at $1,999, which is what my spec'd out Mac Mini costs. Leave the standard display, M5 Pro chip, and so that bumps us up to $2,499. Left just the standard base configuration, so it's the same 15-core CPU, 16-core GPU as in the Mini, and same 24 gigs of RAM, and that comes with a 1 terabyte drive. So this is as close to that Mac Mini as it can be while being a portable computer versus a desktop computer. And yeah, this is the model I would buy, just like with that Mini I priced out. That's the one I would buy. So this comes in at $2,499. And this is where the big shock for me was. Now, prior to all of this and all the extra price increases, the price difference between that Mini and the MacBook Pro was significant enough that I could buy a Mini spec'd out similar and a Neo and still be just a little under the cost of the MacBook Pro. And now there's only a $500 difference between the Mini and the MacBook Pro.
Okay. So you say only. That's a lot of money, especially for a lot of people, right?
It is, but the only is in perspective or in relation to what the price difference had previously been. So it's a much narrower price difference, but $500 is still significant. Yes.
All right. So, all right. So my first question to you is why you feel like you need the M5 Pro versus the M6?
Because I need I need longevity because I don't replace my computer every year or every 2 years. But then also, when you go to the M6, you're sacrificing your bus speeds.
Right. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But so, what would your machine be if you did get the M6?
If I hold on, I will tell you. Let me hop back over to the M6 page. Okay, I'll spec it out the same, except the M6 processor. Okay, so I still want the 24 gigs of RAM, so that adds $200. And then a 1 terabyte drive, that adds $500. And we'll leave the 2.5 gigabit Ethernet, which brings the price up to, okay, so with an M6, that's $15.99.
Oh, really? Wow.
For the mini, yeah.
That's only a $300. I'm sorry, $15.99 or $16.99.
$15.99.
So it's a $400 difference. Yeah, so interestingly, I would say that for your use case, saving the $500 by getting the mini instead of the MacBook Pro makes sense.
Yeah.
But spending the extra $400 to get the M5 Pro versus the Mac 6 also makes sense.
And I agree completely. Yep. So anyhow, I need to let this simmer for a while, because I'm not in the market to replace my MacBook Pro today. And it may be down the line I realize, oh crap, the iPad Pro does not meet my portable computing needs.
And you've got enough time to figure that out.
Yeah.
And by figure it out, I mean, you've already figured it out, but you've got enough time to
validate that or refute it.
Yeah. Right. And for me, I would love to replace my Mac Studio. I cannot now. But when I was pricing my my Mac Studio, when I got my current Mac Studio, I actually maxed a lot of things out.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be very hard for me to do today. In particular, the RAM. So I got 128 gigs of RAM in my Mac Studio, and I feel like I need that. And I'm pretty confident that that's my browsing. The way I've got multiple browsers open with multiple tabs open, and I have them open all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I routinely get really close to that point where data starts getting swapped in and out.
Yep. Okay.
So, but I can't go from 96 to 256 gigs because that's a $4,000 price differential.
Yeah, that's pretty hefty.
I would prefer to get at least 128 again, but that's not an option.
That's not an option anymore.
Yeah, you either get the 96 to start, or you spend $4,000 more and you get 256, and you'll eventually be able to get 512 starting in late October, and that'll probably be like $10,000 more.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. And I also I would need 4 terabytes of space. I'm doing a lot of video stuff these days.
All right, so I have a question for you on the storage.
Yep.
Does that storage all need to be internal? Would it be more cost effective to have like a 1 or 2 terabyte drive and then have external drives for the video storage?
By definition, yes. It would that would be something I would have to do some soul searching on if I was actually able to even to pull the trigger right now.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nicer to have it all be internal, right?
Maybe.
Yeah, but needs must when the double drives, right? That's what I say all the time.
Actually, maybe or maybe not. Having it all internal is convenient, absolutely. But having all of your video content external, it does make it more portable, which it's a desktop computer, typically not an issue. But if your computer goes down, then all of your video work is still there, and you can plug it into whatever you replace it with, or someone lends you a computer, or whatever it is. All of your data is there.
Right. That's fair. That's true, and that's definitely something I had to think about. But my machine with the M5 Ultra, the base M5 Ultra, 30 cores, 30 core CPU, 64 core GPU, and a 32 core neural engine is $7,000. It's $5,824 with the trade in that I Apple wants to give me $1,175 for my
Okay.
M1 Mac Studio, which kind of hurts. But anyway, so that's super pricey right now for me.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm pricing out, like, if I were to get a studio, which it's not a computer for me. I know that right now. I would look at the M5 Max with a standard 18 core, 32 core CPU, GPU. And then I would go ahead and leave it with the stock 36 gig. And then, sure, I'll do a terabyte drive on it, because most of my stuff would be external anyhow. And so that comes in at not much more than a MacBook Pro, $2,799.
Yeah, and yeah, getting the M5 Max it's about $100 less for me.
Yeah. So, well, now that I've done this, there's more that I need to think about for what's the right computer for me. I mean, I think the Mini does make more sense, but if I were planning on spending the money on the MacBook Pro, well, then Mac Studio suddenly becomes a contender in that equation too.
Interesting. I like for you. I mean, so you do, what do they call that? They call that leaving your house.
I do that.
Right. And I don't do that anywhere near as much as you. And I guess one could certainly make the argument that the Mac Studio has always been a vanity purchase for me. I do feel like I need it more today because I am doing so much video stuff for both this and my new podcast, Working Writers.
We will have a link to that in the show notes.
Oh, yay!
By the way, congratulations on launching your podcast.
Thanks. It was an epic challenge. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. But regardless, it's less of a vanity purchase for me today, but it is. It's still. It's these prices are the prices that are being forced by the AI rush to the bubble are frustrating.
Yeah. I think you should price out a Mac Mini as well.
Yeah, but then I wouldn't have a Mac Studio.
I can't argue with that logic. What I mean is, there's no point.
Yeah, there's no point. If I needed, like, if my machine broke and I would absolutely, I would probably be forced to get a Mac Mini today. Just my personal circumstances.
Yeah.
Which we don't mean to. I'm looking at you folks. We don't mean to suggest that our personal choices and our personal circumstances are going to apply to everyone. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah. What Bryan is saying is, we know all of you are better than us.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yes. That is true. All right. Well, that's the Mac news today, man. It's super fun, super exciting. The performance on the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio is impressive, even if the prices are a bit
impressive.
Yeah, eye watering, a little bit painful.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It's exciting times, man. I love seeing Apple release some beefy Macs.
Yeah.
All right. So with that is this week's Context Machine. Yay me. If you have anything to comment on, add, or question, you can write us at podcast@contextmachine.io. Our bandwidth is provided by CashFly. The bass was recorded by Dr. Boom just for us. And who's our sponsor, Jeff?
Our sponsor, Bryan, is Framer. And thank you, Framer, for being here for us.
Yes, we appreciate that. Please check out Framer. Please check them out.
Yeah. Also check out our newsletter. Just go to our website. There's a button right on the top of the page for newsletter. We'd love for you to sign up.
Yep. Oh, and also tell us what you would like to hear us talk about.
Yes, please.
Yeah. We would love to hear from our listeners and watchers. Tell us the kinds of things you want us to talk about.
Yeah, we want to hear from you.
We do.